our minds are tools that we can use to make work for us and not against us. But most of the time we're working or living on autopilot. That we could imagine using our minds, or maybe it seems too difficult to use it. But the reality is, it is quite simple. But simple isn't always easy. You have been living your life in a certain way for so long that to change your path or begin to use your mind in a different way, you actually need to restructure your mind. Now, on this episode, I'm going to get a little bit of science, but bear with me. I want to show you that if you do simple things every day, changing your mind for the life that you want is actually quite simple. Going through traumatic events are either going to give you strength to move you into that next level of your life or keep you stuck in the past. Welcome to this week's episode of the PTSD Growth Podcast. My goal is to give you the motivation to strengthen your life and guide you into that life that you're looking for. The pain that you feel can end and the life that you want can begin. You just have to take responsibility and take action. Now, I've been studying neuroscience for a few years now, and it's actually quite amazing the mind that you have and the way it works. One of the books that I truly recommend is Switch on Your Brain by Caroline Leaf. She really talks about how science and the Bible are basically one and the same. That's what a lot of these personal developments are coming out with, is how God created the mind and created the life that you live, basically with different situations in your mind and how your mind's going to work. So how does your mind really work? And like I said, bear with me. So neuroplasticity, by definition, is the brain's ability to form new neutral connections to heal from injury or disease. So that being said, the brain can change whatever you experience a new event, whether good or bad. Your experiences, repetitive behaviors, and thoughts actually can change the circuitry of your brain to help you or hurt you. Now, what I want to show you within this is if you look into neuroplasticity, it will show you that your mind has been altered because of the event that you went through. But the amazing thing is that your mind changed, which means it can change back. What PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, actually is a confusion state of mind. So your neurons in your brain are actually not functioning the way they should because they're focused on events and they're causing you to have painful situations that aren't really there because your focus is on that event. And what you think is who you become. So when you're always thinking about these negative situations that you've had in your life, this is going to cause your mind and your brain to really think of these situations. And then it causes you to live on autopilot because when you don't want to face pain and you don't want to be in a painful situation, you block it out. Most of the time, instead of facing our pain, we block it out. We don't want to face it. We don't want to think about it. How many times have you heard that? How is that? What happened in that situation? You know what? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. That means that you're not facing your pain. And you're going to stay stuck because your neurons are going to protect you because you're not working on them. And you live a life that's in autopilot where you're not actually moving. You're not actually creating that life. So how to wake up your mind? How do you begin to wake up your mind and begin to live that life that you want? The truth is the brain loves change and it's willing to change. Sometimes it's us who won't allow our brain to change because we get stuck. We just live in that event, that situation that is reminding us, and it keeps us stuck. So start to pay attention to your life and get off autopilot. I want you to ask yourself, like, what did you just do this morning? What are some things in your life right now that you're doing besides listening to me? And that is going to bring your awareness back to now. Learning new things. When was the last time you learned something new? I try to spend about 30 minutes a day focusing on something that I don't know yet and learning it, because your mind loves learning new things. And this creates new brain cells, and it's going to cause your mind to really create new brain cells all the time. So you're always recreating your mind. The only reason your mind stays the same is because you don't do anything to move yourself into that new place, to create that life that you want, because you're focused on not reliving that pain again. And that's, you know what, that's understandable. It's fully understandable to not relive painful situations. Nobody wants to go through that pain again. But when you learn to grow into it and you learn to become a new person and analyze the painful situation, you don't need to relive it. You know, I talk about in one of my courses that if you look at a situation from like a third person, so see the situation that you went through and write about it and say, okay, so Bob, if your name's Bob, don't use this analogy. So Bob went through this situation that caused him to feel this, this, and this. He felt this because this is what happened. Okay, now you've kind of analyzed the situation from a third person. Now what I want you to do is I want you to create the same situation but only use positive outcomes. You're going, okay, how do I create positive outcomes from a negative situation? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take my son Lucas's life. When he died years ago, it caused me to go into a bad spiral, caused me to get PTSD, depression, suicide intentions, and really down a bad road. But over the years, I've learned to reanalyze that situation. So Bob, his son died at 16 months old. It caused him to be in a negative situation, causing stress daily. All he could think about was this, and he wasn't able to focus at work. He wasn't able to really show enough love to his family, and it just couldn't get past the situation. Okay, so now we're going to change it into a more positive. So Bob was absolutely honored to be able to spend 16 months with his son. He got the privilege of raising him, seeing him walk, hearing him say dada, all these situations that were absolutely amazing. His laugh, the fun times they had. He was honored that he got to see that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this situation and put me in there. I got to see my son laugh. I got to see my son enjoy great times. I got to see him grow as a little boy. And now because of that situation, I get to bring my experiences to you. I get to help you grow. I get to help you turn your mess into your message and show you that no matter what you went through in your past, that does not have to be who you are in your future. So what are some steps to change your mind for the good? One is to create new habits to replace old ones. And that's key there, is to replace old ones. So what's something that you want to begin doing that you're not doing now? Make sure that when you start doing that, you create that habit over another habit. So let's say you're a smoker, but you want to be more healthy, so you want to go to the gym. So anytime that you feel like you want to have a cigarette, start doing a physical activity right there. Just start doing push-ups, whatever, jumping jacks. Yeah, it might look ridiculous, but who cares? Who cares what people think of you? Doesn't matter. It's what you think of you. Fill that habit with a new habit. If you don't replace it, and I know that habit was kind of extreme, but if you don't replace it, you're just going to revert back to what you were doing, because your brain does not fill that void. The neurons that are built can't cover what you've changed. Second thing is to learn something new. Like I said, your brain wants to change. Your brain wants to grow. So what's something that you can begin to learn? Maybe you want to learn a new language. Maybe you want to learn to play some music. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, learn it and practice it every day for like 15 minutes. And that's going to build new neurons in your mind. And it's actually going to fix your PTSD. It's going to work through it because it's going to fill and change your mind. And the final thing is live in the moment. Right? When you can actually live in the moment and be in the moment, you don't always have to capture it with a camera. You don't have to show the world. Just be in that moment and love and learn to see what's going on. So today's exercise is I want you to pick something this week that you can learn or that you want to learn and spend at least 15 to 30 minutes a day studying it or learning it. Okay? If you don't like your life or are frustrated with how your life's going, don't you think it's worth the effort to change it? It's up to you to change your life, but you have to realize that it's not going the way you want it to. And finally, stop and look around. Appreciate the moments that you have today, because by tomorrow, they'll be all gone. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to this podcast and like this episode. But also, make sure that you share this. There are so many people in this world suffering when they don't have to. And you can change their life with just a click of a button. I thank you in advance. And always, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it.